All right, so now we're going to talk about sharing functions with others, and that could mean sharing it with yourself, but you don't want to copy and paste the macro necessarily to another workbook, or you want to be able to use it on any workbook on that computer, or maybe you want to share it with a coworker or somebody, but you want to make it simple on them, right? So there's a lot of different ways that we can go about that. And as we know, sharing is caring, right? So let's talk about some of these different ways that we can get by, or how we can do that. So here's option number 1 through 4 that I'm aware of. The first option is, hey, you can simply take and copy and paste specific macros that you want to share, and you can email them or, put them on a flash drive, maybe in a notepad or something. Right, that's the basic thing, is you copy and paste your macros. You see that on forums all the time, right? People just threw a macro or a function in there, all right? Option 2 is slightly more sophisticated, is that you can share a single module or a form, a user form, and that would, by default, that would share all of the containing code. So you can email those, or you can share those with a flash drive as well. That's called a BAS file, .bas file. And you can export them. And in fact, we should probably go ahead and talk about those two methods before we move on. So let's go ahead and just demonstrate those. So I'm going to Alt-Tab until I get over to my Excel file here. And of course, the first method is, hey, you take a macro or two that you think you should share, and you Control-C, and then let's pretend that this is a notepad or somewhere, and of course you Control-V wherever you're going to paste that, or into your email body in Outlook or something like this, and you click that send button. The other way is, let's say that everything in module 2 or perhaps module 1, either way, you pick a module one at a time or a user form, and you right click on them and you say, hey, I want to export this particular file. So if you say I want to export module1.bas, of course you can rename it, but you can put it anywhere you want. In this case, it'd be in my documents. Module 1 functions is what we'll call it. If I hit save, that actually saves an actual .bas file, and you can of course email that or whatever you'd like to do with that. So here we're back to the slide. Option 3, which we will talk about, is we're going to learn how to do an Excel add-in, which is very exciting stuff. This is where you can actually put macros in a special file type, which allows others to use your macros even if their current workbook doesn't even have any macros directly inside them. This is called an add-in, and basically the macro stays with the workbook that it's assigned to, that it's saved to. They're attached, and so this becomes linked to that workbook, and it'll go with the workbook wherever it goes. So that's very interesting as well. One caveat with an add-in, and we'll go over that in a different lecture, how to do this and everything, but the add-in needs to be added to their computer, so they have to at least have the add-in on their computer somewhere, that file. But as long as they have that on their computer, then the Excel file can link it. So you can give them the add-in and it'll have all the code that they need. But and option number 4 is to use your personal workbook. So you can add a macro or functions to your personal.xlsb workbook, and that stays with your Windows login. So every time you're logged in, you can use this and any of the macros or functions therein, because it's secretly opened in the background every time that you open Excel. So if you don't see it, we'll show you how we can get you that personal workbook, and how we can make it show up so you can start recording or writing custom functions or custom codes or whatever. And we'll show you how to do that. So those will be some of the next couple lectures. We're going to show you how to make an add-in. We're going to show you how to utilize your personal.xlsb workbook, because not everybody knows how to use that. So we'll see you in the next lecture, and we'll dive into how to share and retask or reutilize over and over these functions you're working on. We'll see you in the next lecture.